Hey y'all, welcome back to the DIY Entrepreneurs Reaction Show. I'm so glad you decided to tune in with me today. Go ahead and hit that like button and become a subscriber to the channel if you're not already a subscriber. I would really appreciate that. Today we're going to be reacting to another Shark Tank pitch, so let's check it out.
Next in the tank is a company seeking to help college athletes maximize their potential.
What's up, Sharks? My name is Hunter, alongside my partners Jason, Austin, and Charles. We're here today seeking $650,000 in exchange for 5% of our company.
Wow.
Having been a D1 college basketball player and playing for the NBA, I've witnessed the many challenges that athletes experience by not being able to monetize their brand.
Charles and I would regularly walk by the campus bookstore and see jerseys with his number selling on them, and not a penny went to him. As you all can imagine, this really pissed us off.
So, Sharks, that's why we decided to take matters into our own hands.
Before you knew it, the Players Trunk was born as a platform for former and current collegiate athletes to monetize their brand by selling player-owned, team-issued, and game-worn gear.
Customers go to our site, search for their favorite college or athlete, and find the gear in each player's collection.
In our first 12 months of business, we have over 800 athletes on our platform. Additionally, in the first 2 months of the name, image, and likeness period, brand new to college sports, we have signed up dozens of athletes to the platform.
We've put in the work, and we know how to grind, but we would love it if you would join our hustle.
So let me jump in just so everybody understands what's going on here, right? So when they talk about NIL or name, image, or likeness, that's a brand new rule.
Yeah.
So up until this past year, college athletes couldn't get paid, amateur athletes couldn't get paid at all. Somebody sued, and that led to all the rules being changed.
It's about time. Wow.
So now every college athlete is allowed to sell their name, image, and likeness and start to make money. And some of them are really getting paid. But there's a lot of competition in this space, right? Because everybody sees it as a gold rush. So what sets you guys apart? What's your secret sauce?
Before they get into that, I'm glad that he jumped in with that, because I was wondering how they were going to skirt around that issue, because at first I thought it was illegal to for college players to make money in whatever it is that they're scholarshiped or whatever it is they're planning to do for the college. And so I like that he brought up this new rule, NIL, name, likeness, or name, image, and likeness, that they are under now, that they're able to do something like this. So this is my first time hearing about it. If you're an athlete, you probably heard about it. But I like that they introduced this pitch into the tank and gave them an opportunity to make us more aware of this new rule. So let's see what sets them apart.
It comes down to relationships. We're young, we're 21 to 23-year-olds. College kids see the hustle, they see the grind, they can relate to us. And also, especially with the NIL and merchandising, we have licensing deals with 13 of the most prestigious universities, so that really adds value to a lot of people.
Exclusive? Yeah. There's a couple ways we can structure deals with athletes. Some are on an exclusive basis, and some are not. But there are also tons of guys and girls who are making a very solid amount of money out of college selling their old team-issued gear. Post-collegiate opportunities, if they want to sell their jersey, we don't need to pay licensing. This gear is theirs once they leave.
Let's say you got a Class A player and he's going to sell his old jersey. What do you get for that?
On the vintage stuff, once they're out of school, we're keeping 20% on that. On the custom merch, the t-shirts, the hoodies, the collectibles, the phone cases that we're producing, we're keeping 40% on that.
My personal jerseys were selling for north of $1,000.
That's great.
How much did you get of the 1,000?
He got the whole thing because he's co-founder of the company.
How much work are you doing to spread the word, doing the social, pushing people to the site to get them to buy merch?
Yeah, the biggest thing for us in terms of customer acquisition has been the athletes promoting on their own social following, given that.
So you're just providing the logistics and infrastructure.
Exactly.
And then once they leave, they can sell their vintage stuff at a much higher price.
Exactly. Once their eligibility is completely exhausted.
So I'm looking at this deal. So 5%, $650,000, $13 million valuation. What are your sales?
Yeah, so we started the company just over a year ago, and since that time, we've done $1.3 million in sales.
Good for you guys.
How much have you made on that?
Y'all.
$200,000 we've made on that.
Our senior year, we ran this and the $1.3 million in sales in our dorm room in college. So now that we actually feel that we have the opportunity to go on these college campuses, interact with the student athletes. Face-to-face is always better to get deals done. Like, we feel like the sky's the limit.
All right, guys, look. The big behemoth in your space for merchandise is a public company. It trades at a 20 multiple. On this 200,000 that you're making, that would make you worth, if you were public and equivalent to them, which you're not because they're so much bigger than you, you'd be worth $4 million. Instead, you're telling me I got to pay 10 times your sales. 650,000, 5%, $13 million. That's nuts. So you get 1.3 million in sales. Your valuation's crazy. I mean,
Aren't they the first
you're good guys,
well, not
but
first
who
in
told
the
you to
space?
walk in here with that valuation?
Do you
Because
guys
right now,
have
I think
other
it's a huge
investors?
problem.
Have you raised money so
Yeah,
far?
so
That's a good
we raised
question.
a round a few months ago. It valued the company at $10 million. So again, coming in at 13, we have.
What was that deal specifically?
So we raised money at a $10 million valuation. We raised $1.25 million.
From whom?
From a very credible, established venture capitalist firm in Chicago that, among others, are backers of Cameo and other large marketplaces out there.
But they're not sharks. I think that's a crazy valuation. Now look, maybe they're putting other people's money to work. This is my money, okay? My money. I don't do stupid deals. This
He's
deal's
a bottom
it's
fisher is
stupid.
what he is.
Guys, I'm out.
Okay.
At
He kinda
5%,
mad.
it's tough.
Not worth it.
Right? That's extremely tough. You know, for something like this to happen, there has to be a major upside in return. So, you know, me and Mark were talking. I'm willing to make an offer, but you know, you
might not like it. You know, you're asking us to give money, but you need us to go work for you, right?
need our legs.
And so while venture capital money is great, Mark Cuban money and Kevin Hart money and name is a whole lot greater.
Hey, I wish I had a drum roll. I wish I had a drum roll. They be flexing, baby.
It's a different ball game.
So go ahead, Kevin.
We're asking for 30%.
30%. So go ahead, Kevin. He primed them all up. Pitched them the whole thing. 30% for the 650K. That's rich. But I mean, they got some rich people. Kevin Hart and Mark Cuban.
Right, so 650K that you asked for 30%.
That's a rich deal.
It is and it isn't. So there's no
promise you
amount
I
of money
haven't
that you
watched
could pay otherwise to get an NBA owner and one of the biggest stars in the universe to add credibility to your company. And what I always say, look, 70% of a
I'm gonna need for Kevin Hart to have a way of introduction to him. He probably said don't call him the comedian no more because he's a businessman. But on the last pitch, Barbara said something about she referred to him as this character, or this guy. She did. It seemed like to me words escaped her at that moment from saying anything else. And then he just said the biggest stars, one of the biggest stars. So I'm gonna need Kevin to introduce himself or say something as far as a moniker for him, because people need to know how to introduce you or refer to you on these chairs.
watermelon is a whole lot better than 95% of a grape.
Hey guys, I'm not in this deal. Officially, I'm out because I want to just give you some advice. Why don't you make your deal contingent on them actually delivering those stars to you, not hearsay.
Frankly, I don't think you're worth anywhere near $10 million. I think you're actually worth about 2.1 million. Laura, you going to make an offer? What are you going to do?
Well, listen, I don't think that this is the right business or valuation for me. So for those reasons, I'm out. But you have a deal from Mark and from Kevin Hart. Are you going to counter them, or what's going on in your heads?
There is no counter,
I don't
guys.
understand the reservation.
Okay,
guys, you got to make a decision.
Look, I don't think, you know, there are better strategically aligned partners than you guys. I think that from our standpoint, to come down, you know, to that valuation, no matter who it's with, it's just not in our best interest right now. I realize that you guys could bring in star athletes. You have the star power. I think that our counteroffer would probably be $750,000 for 7.5%.
No.
Which is understandable. I think that it's just, for us, it's not smart to go below that seat.
I love that you are staying true to what you believe in, as you should. That was our offer. You know, if it's not taken, then we're out.
Yeah, we're out.
Guys, I also respected you until you turned that offer down. Now I think you're bozos.
You know what? You know, let me just say this, and I probably should keep it for the wrap up, but just real quick before it escapes my mind. They came back with a counter that was more percentage and more money. Their initial offer walking into the tank was $650K for 5%. Their counter to Kevin Hart's and Mark Cuban's counter on that for the $650K was 30%. They then said, well, give us $750K for 7.5% equity. So they went up in percentage and went up in money. It's like as if they were still on that scale of keeping that same valuation that they came in with, and they weren't reading into the different kind of perks and things that could really be done with Mark Cuban and Kevin Hart on your team. I probably wouldn't accept it the 30, but still, that's 7.5 counter and asking for more money on top of that. I think one was an insult. Or in them just kind of like being like, nah, we what's it? You know, I think they kind of should have humbled themselves a little bit. And what Kevin O'Leary just said was he respected them until they turned down, or better yet, before they made the counter on that offer. So let's just see how this plays out. I think everybody is out though. Let's see.
Thanks, guys. Good luck.
Thank you.
We appreciate it.
Good luck.
Thanks, guys.
When they're friends.
Okay, so unfortunately, they did not get a deal. They were going pretty good before they got into that last corner when they countered what Mark and them was saying, what Mark and Kevin Hart was trying to offer. I can't say I don't like the vibe Mark was giving off. I mean, he understand. He done made his pitch. You got, me on the team with one of the biggest entertainers in the world. And so I understand the flex you want to make sure you put on the platform for them to accept your counter. However, at the same time, he was very just kind of like in your face with it when Barbara said, well, what counter would you give them? Mark came back with it ain't no counter. Like, come on now, relax and let's get this, let's get some business. Let's try to make, a win-win situation here. And then maybe they know what they have. You got Mark Cuban, who's the owner of a sports franchise, and they are doing right now collegiate athlete, collegiate wear. Who's to say that Mark wouldn't, got them in and got them with some type of NBA licensing deal and made their portfolio 10 times better than what it is now. And that's the valuation he sees on it. So I understand his ego. I understand his pride at the moment and what he knows that he could bring to the table, especially with another heavy hitter on the side with Kevin Hart being there. But he was, that came out. You just saw all that ego come out. And I'm just upset that they didn't counter better. I think they could have countered a little bit better. But again, we only see 10 minutes of the pitch, so we understand it could have been a lot of more conversation going back and forth, but that's what we're left with. And so I really do hope that they find a partnership that works out for them in their business. But they seem to be doing well. With a little over a year in business, they have made $1.3 million in a little over a year in business, and put $200K in their pockets from that. And so they are profitable and making money, but then they do have other investors on the team. And so that plays into trying to get a deal with the Sharks at any time. So I really just hope it works out for them. It seems like a nice path that they have that they could go down. So thank you guys so much for tuning in and staying until the end. I really do appreciate it. Make sure you hit that like button and become a subscriber if you like this content. And make sure you check us out for the next ones.
See this? And they said, you turned down Mark and Kevin?
I don't understand that.
They're going to be
They
like,
only made
what?
$200,000.
I get pitched this exact same thing all the time.
Yeah.
So there are no barriers to entry. To have us together,
Yeah. It's strong.
oh my God.
They missed that opportunity.
I think for us, it's no regrets at all. I'm proud of the guys, and proud that we stuck to our guns and walked away from that deal.
All right.